What is up, ladies and gents? Welcome back to Heavenly Delusion, episode 5. As usual, timer-based reaction on YouTube, picture-in-picture version in the description below. There's gonna be a countdown for the timer-based reaction on YouTube, and the countdown for the timer starts now. Star Quarrel. Oh no. Yeah, I hate that feeling. When you have something retro and you think that it could work, but then it doesn't. Hmm. Two is all you need. Hey. Now you're asking for it. Oh shit. Love how fast that was. But you can still feel the impact. Yes, please take it outside. Don't destroy the arcade. That immediate change in his emotion, slightly terrifying. The fluidity in the animation, again, like, you gotta commend it. Right on time. I love the little swirl that he does. Doesn't matter. She'll always have your back. Man, every time I see them move, the character acting, the facial expressions, like, they're all so good. Sometimes bubbly, I would say. I'm trying to find words to describe it, but they're really using the squash and stretch effect really, really well in this episode. Or, well, not just in this episode, in this entire show, even. And there's the, that one frame of the video game in that opening. And that as well. Always wondered what that's gonna entail in the series, but I guess now we know. Ooh. Did you now? Did you now? During the oh. Hmm. Wondering if my theory in the previous episode is gonna be right. If he is Tokyo's son, and yeah, and all this stuff with the kids in the facility are all in the past, and their experiment is what led them to this. Mikura, Day of Fate, and his abilities, of course. Let's not forget about that. Hmm. Love this music in the back by Ushio. Like just the little notes coming and going. It is convenient that he doesn't remember much, but then again, he was still a child. Hmm. At the end of the day, he's still a kid. Interesting. Mikura. Wonder if Mikura is somebody that we actually know from the facility. Love these facial expressions, like, once again. Hmm. Probably. Taking in all of the lessons that Robin told him. Still have my suspicions that Robin is the one who killed or shot Hiriko. Your little Maru. Yeah, lovely perspective shot. The door is open. He's gone. Trauma from her past. What were you really doing? I see. Yeah. Likely story. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the trauma of their past is definitely getting to her. I mean, hey, it alleviated the tense, some of the tense moment. So sometimes a good laugh is all they need. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Wise words. Mm-hmm. Lovely transition. And again, the theory is that this is in the past. There's the footprint. Mm-hmm. Hey, look at this. Oh, what's her name? Yeah, really special. We've never seen her before, have we? I don't think we have. Taro has passed. That's how they know. I wonder if they've ever experienced this before. Like a friend dying. Because we don't see anybody older than them in this facility. Ah, right, okay. There we go. Huh, samples, huh? Second death. So Asura's the first. Huh. Huh, okay. We're getting a bit of an idea of whatever it is they are doing and how they are treating these children. Hmm. The Day of Fate. Oh! Oh! They're creating these children as like future-proofing humanity, are they? Somehow they know that the Day of Fate is gonna happen, which I am going to be assuming to be the end of the world. Or the Great Collapse. That is very subjective. Yeah, I hear them too. I don't think it's the gang though. Oh. Ah. Okay. Why do you need protection? Do tell. No. We got a lead. We got a lead. Robin in the back there of the photo. What's in the bag? appeared after the. Yep. One of the babies? Oh, don't. Starting to feel like my theory about the different timelines is pretty much correct at this point. Kensuke Ushio. He's just great at making ambient music, if that makes sense. Like, the purpose of his music is just to make ambient sounds. Most of them, at least. Demo, but. Hey! Is that the source of his illness? Why do I have a feeling that whatever that is going to be what will either lead to the Great Collapse and the destruction of the world as we know it, or that's going to be the thing that is going to accelerate the growth of these monsters, these man-eaters, because clearly, as this episode mentioned, not only did Maru was born at the same time as the Great Collapse, or was it actually called the Great Collapse? I'm actually starting to doubt myself, but we'll talk more about it in the discussion. But great episode. All right, another pretty well directed episode of Heavenly Delusion. It goes without saying, the level of quality, the animation, the background, just the overall production quality of this anime series so far has been solid from the first episode up until this point. Of course, there's really not a lot of action in this episode. There's still some action sequences, right, in the arcade, for example, and such. But still, they are still able to showcase a lot of the strengths of the animation medium. Really love how, as I mentioned in the reaction, how some of the characters and their movement feels a bit bubbly. But that's mostly attributed to the fact that this show has they are using the squash and stretch method really well, right? It's the animation method where you will see objects or characters, as it says, squash and stretch. It just adds more to the liveliness, so it's not really as stiff as, let's say, some other animes are, because some other animes, they tend to be really stiff, like they want the characters to be as in model as they can. But Heavenly Delusion, while still maintaining like how they look, but they also are able to express them far more I guess expressively. But overall, solid episode. I do feel like this episode, story-wise, it does feel more like a transitional episode, if that makes sense, where this episode is doing a lot of setup. We got a bit of backstory from Maru, which I am in desperate need to know more of, because I'm gonna talk later about it, because that's gonna tie in with the theory that I've been developing since the previous episode. But overall, this episode does feel like a setup episode, and especially towards the end, right? The ending of this episode is where the setup is truly being shown. If we're talking about the stuff with the children and the facility and the directors, that is setting up what would ultimately be the catalyst to the great disaster. What's his name again? What's their name? Taro's death, and this reveal of this object that appeared, right? We don't know what it is, right? The only speculation wise, it could potentially be the thing that is infecting them, right? It is the thing that is causing their disease, their infection, because again, apparently these kids are being created to have the most perfect body imaginable, and I'll get to that more if I still remember during the discussion. But ultimately, it talks about more about the very nature of the facility, the very nature of the children's themselves, and why they are there to begin with. And now it adds a bit more context as to why some of these people in charge are actually supervising them and are actually looking at their behaviors, looking at what they do. And then of course we got the other subplot or the main plot. Which one is the main plot? I guess both are the main plots at this point. But we get the plot with Maru and Kiriko, and that is of course we got a lead on the Doctor and the Immortal Order, which we still have no idea what that is actually. Like, we don't know what that is about. Could the Immortal Order actually be these people? Them. Because they are making, as they say themselves, children with the perfect body. They're giving them super abilities. Maybe these are the Immortal Order, as the person at the end say. Very curious. But ultimately, as I said, right, setup episode. Cannot wait for the next episode and see where all of it is going. Do I want to talk theories, or do I want to talk about... Let's talk about Kiriko first. We'll talk about Kiriko first because obviously this moment is probably one of the standouts in this episode. But we'll talk about her, and then we'll talk about Maru's backstory a bit more, and then we transition from there to theory time. So I think it's great that they are showing this. They are showing this fear and terror in Kiriko's demeanor. It's not just the trauma that they had in the past, right? Their probable blame of themselves, of unable to save one another. And it's the fact that it's the fact that it is happening again in this episode, where they are unable to find Maru. Yeah, I can see why they are having a panic attack. this, this sign of weakness is definitely, again, it's something that they obviously need to overcome overcome in the future. But right now, it's not just a sign of weakness, but it is also a sign of how much they actually care about Maru. Not just because that they are his hired bodyguard, but because they do genuinely care about Maru, right? In this episode, they were talking about Kiriko was talking about yeah, that's my Maru. Wait, my Maru? What am I saying? You know what I mean? It's that bond that they have been developing and what they have been. Is that a person? This crack in the window kind of mimics the silhouette of a person. Anyways, but it is this bond that they have been building over these past 5 episodes. And again, these past 5 episodes, I would say, feels more like the tail end of their relationship, if that makes sense, because they have been on this journey for a while. I don't know how long. I think they talked about it, but I probably forgot the specifics, but they have been on this journey for quite a while, right? We are only seeing a snippet of it. They have history, they have a past before this, right? And we are currently just in the middle of it, right? Maybe towards the end. So, while we don't really see it, I think these past 5 episodes have done a good job at painting how much these 2 characters really care for each other. And of course, their dynamic, the way they bounce off each other, dialogue-wise, I think the banter is really good. Of course, the running joke so far of how, have you ever loved someone? Have you ever loved a girl and then that girl turns out to be a guy? But, I'm talking about literally inside of them is literally a guy, their brain is a guy and all. And I'm sure they're probably going to explore more in that aspect, psychologically speaking, and also, romantically speaking. I mean, it is a possibility, right? I mean, they are hinting at it a bit, right? So far, it is played for jokes and some really heartwarming moments as well, as happened later in this episode when they actually hug it out, and then the joke happened that he's actually hard and all. But ultimately, their dynamic is something that I really love in this episode, in this entire show so far. Maybe not fully enough to make me be emotionally attached to their relationship, but that remains to be seen. Sometimes you don't really know that you are emotionally attached to these characters until something terrible happens to them, and then you go, oh shit, I am actually emotionally invested in this, right? So far, I would say, as far as dynamics go, I think they're pretty good. I think the fact that they are showing that Kiriko has this weakness where obviously they don't want to lose Maru for obvious reasons, but it also shows that they do genuinely care for Maru. I think it's great. Maru, on the other hand, so backstory time. So, when were you born, Maru, again? The same year as the Great Disaster, apparently. The first memories that you have are from 3 or 4 years old, so we don't know what happened in those first 2 years. In a spacious room with other kids about my age. So again, these are memories from when he is 3 to 4 years old. Not from when he was 1 and 2 years old. So that is the part that we do not know. That is the mystery, right? That is the part that I am desperately wanting to know, because that is the key to tie in with Maru's backstory and the theory that I have, which I think at this point in the story, it's almost confirmed. Great shot, by the way. Great shot. But it's almost confirmed that whatever is happening with the facility kids, that is in the past. Kiriko and Maru's journey is in the future. What is happening with the facility kids, right? They even talked about it. Let's see if I can find it. The Day of Fate. The Day of Fate is the only thing that cannot be changed. Somehow, I am attributing the Day of Fate as the Great Disaster, as they call it, because it is like that point of no return that the date in which it is predicted that all things are gonna get fucked. Yeah, so first of all, how do they know about this? Does it really matter? I don't think it does matter. But what does matter is that they are trying to create people, right? They are trying to create these kids with supposedly a body that is built with immunity to everything. So basically confirming the fact that these kids are all presumably manufactured or incubated by whatever machine that we saw in the previous episode that had a really big belly. So it's not like they have mothers or fathers themselves. They don't have an actual parent. They are genetically engineered and born. And that is why they are being supervised. Still doesn't explain why some of the cameras don't really show them. Curious if this person is the one responsible for that. I mean, I have no idea who this person is, but he is the only other person in the adult group in this subplot that is getting more screen time aside from the director. So maybe. But yeah, it's my theory of this being in the past is pretty much confirmed by this. Day of Fate could possibly, once again, like I said, correlate to the Great Disaster. The fact that one of the kids have dreams where they are being saved by two people or being being saved by two people, and one of them looks like Tokyo. Now, being saved doesn't necessarily mean that they are being liberated. Could be wrong. It could be metaphorically speaking, as in they're kind, be free or whatever, right? And that can also still be a possibility. But making man-eater babies, dreams that Tokyo looks like somebody that we know, and we obviously know that that other person is probably gonna be Maru. It sure as ain't Kiriko, that's for sure. And the fact that Maru was born on the day or during the same time as the Great Disaster, yeah, I feel like my theory of these being two different timelines is pretty much set in stone, unless there's a twist that I do not see coming. But right now, I'm fairly confident with the theory that I'm currently getting. And of course, this whole revelation bit of the facility and what they're doing with the kids it also adds this level of, how do I describe it? Like this level of I don't want to say existentialism, but it does tie back to the theme of the show from the very beginning, and that is about the theme of finding about who you are and your personality and your identity as a person and as a human especially. Because for these kids, right, when they learn that their sole purpose, well, again, their sole purpose may be for good, right? There is this current theory that I have right now is that these kids are being created as a way to ensure that humanity lives on in case the Great Disaster wipes out everything that we know. But I feel like that's gonna be more. I feel like there's something going on here that's gonna be horrifying. We do know that the man-eaters can take human bodies. We know that the man-eaters can suck them in and, I guess, blend them together into one, right? And that is the thing that is being hinted at the end of the episode as well. We've seen that happen in the other episode, right? With the backstory with Kiriko. Now, I have and this is the theory that I do not want to happen. So we have the man-eater babies in the facility. We also have the kids in the facility, and the kids are all, I would say, very, very gifted. They have special abilities. So what if we combine these two and we get these man-eating babies that are super human powered and such? That is the one theory that I do not want to happen. And hopefully it never will, because if it does, then it just adds more context to other to previous episodes, but it also makes them way more depressing than they are. Can't wait for the next episode of Heavenly Delusion. Honestly speaking, this is probably one of the best, honestly one of my favorite anime that I'm currently watching. It's fun, the mystery is great. Here's one thing that I'll say about like mystery shows before we end the discussion. I feel like mystery shows usually almost always start really, really strong because they are presenting a question that we, the audience, do not know the answer of, and we are desperate to know what it is, right? That is the hook, right? It's easy to hook the audience in when the mystery is good, when the question is something that we desperately want to know because we need answers. Sometimes it doesn't really stick the landing. Sometimes the answer isn't really as fun as finding the answers themselves. Sometimes the question is fun when you read it, but then once you frustratingly try to answer it, once you get the answer, you don't really feel satisfied anymore. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, and I have seen plenty of other mystery shows or shows that has mystery elements in them unable to bring that payoff well. So 5 episodes in, I am very much invested in this show. I am very much invested in how the show presents itself, how we are trying to piece together this mystery question from 2 different perspectives, which I find to be creative and unique. Because it brings 2 perspectives, it brings 2 different possible answers. And I just hope and I wish that whenever this story ends, because this is based on a manga that is currently circulating, if I remember correctly, so it's not like it's over, like there's still plenty of grounds to cover, and I don't know how long or how much this first season of Heavenly Delusion is gonna cover manga wise. So I don't even know if they have enough material should they want to do a second season, unless we have to wait more time until like more source material is out for for them to do such a sequel. But I am just hoping that 1, this show does not overstay its welcome, and 2, that the show is able to land a payoff. Because so far, I would say the show's biggest strength so far is the journey. So far, the journey is something that I'm really enjoying. I love when the characters are moving from point A to point B to point C. question is, once they reach the final point, is it going to be satisfying or not? Although, if they are able to maintain this level of quality and maintain this level of storytelling, then I would say once we do reach the ending, regardless of what it is, I would still feel mostly satisfied because of what we got. But the ending will definitely, change some of that. So that's like the one thing that I'm currently cautious about. But so far, this show has a lot of potential. A lot of potential. This could be a show that I can recommend to a lot of people. Like even people that don't really like anime that much, if that makes sense. Because I feel like this show is, for the most part, approachable. Obviously, some moments that I think casual viewers will go, ooh. But regardless, great episode. Really fantastic series so far. Really enjoying it. Hope you guys enjoyed my reaction, my discussion for Heavenly Delusion, episode 5. If you do, hit like, subscribe. You know the drill. Early access available on Patreon, and I will see you all next time. Take care. Have a nice day. Peace.